Measurement of viscosity. For the measurement of viscosity, we use the Poiseuille formula, which is used for the free flow of a liquid. The absolute value of coefficient of viscosity can be determined by measuring the various parameters involved in Poiseuille's formula given as. Poiseuille formula is eta is equal to pi p r4 t upon 8 VL, where eta is coefficient of viscosity or viscosity, pi 22/7, p is pressure, r is radius of the capillary through which the liquid will flow, t is the time of flow, v is the volume of the liquid, and L is the length of the capillary tube through which the liquid will flow. However, for most of purposes, it is sufficient to find out the relative viscosities. जैसे हमने कहा कि एब्सोल्यूट वैल्यू अगर हम निकालना चाहें तो इस फार्मूले को हम यूज करेंगे, Poiseuille formula. We will determine various parameters and then we will have the absolute value of coefficient of viscosity or viscosity. However, there is a practical problem, and that is again in the measurement of radius of the capillary, because that the radius of the capillary is very small, r is very small, and here in this formula it is with r raised to power 4. So if a small error in the measurement of r, radius of the capillary, is there, then it will be very large because r raised to power 4. Therefore, absolute value of coefficient of viscosity is usually not measured, and we usually measure relative viscosity. For that purpose, we take one as reference liquid. Usually reference liquid taken is water, and another will be the liquid whose viscosity we have to measure, that will be the experimental liquid. For that purpose, using this equation, we this eliminates the necessity of the measurement of a number of parameters of the above formula as explained below. For that purpose, we just modify a few things. For a liquid flowing under its own hydrostatic pressure, P will be on hydrostatic pressure, means that there is the flow of the liquid is free, no hurdle is there. So P will be equal to h dg. H is the height of the liquid column, d is the density of the liquid, and g is acceleration due to gravity. Therefore, putting this value of P in this Poiseuille formula, we will get eta will be equal to pi h dg. पाई ऑलरेडी था, पी की जगह हमने रख दिया एच डी जी. अब बाकी सारी टर्म्स R4, T, 8VL, they will remain same. Now for equal volume of two liquids flowing from the same height h through the same capillary, so that the length and radius are same, then if eta 1 and eta 2 are the coefficient of viscosity of two liquids having densities d1 and d2, and T1 and T2 are their respective time of flow, then we can express this equation as for first liquid, say, whose coefficient of viscosity is eta, that will be equal to pi h d1 g r4 t1 upon 8 VL to d2 g r4 t2 upon 8 VL. You can see that the flow of both the liquids which are having different coefficient of viscosity and different densities, they will take different time of flow, T1 and T2, they will be different. However, as the capillary is same, therefore the length of the capillary will be same in both the cases. The volume of the liquid we are taking same, therefore V will also be same. And one more thing, as we keep the height of the liquid column from where the flow of the liquid is going on, we keep the height same, therefore acceleration due to gravity and h, they will also be same. Therefore, dividing this equation 4 by equation 5, we get a very simple relation that eta 1 by eta 2 will be equal to, जस्ट हम ये eta 1 के ये इक्वेशन 4 वाली वैल्यू है पाई एच d1 g r4 t1 अपॉन 8 VL, और अब इससे n2 से हम डिवाइड कर रहे हैं तो 8VL अपॉन पाई एच D2 GR4 T2। सो 8VL कैंसिल हो जाएगा, आपके पास पाई एच GR4 ये कैंसिल हो जाएगा, यू विल गेट D1 T1 अपॉन D2 T2। Therefore, eta 1 will be equal to D1 T1 upon D2 T2 into eta 2. Again, on the right hand side, we get 5 parameters. Out of these 5, experimentally, we will measure 3 parameters and 2 parameters. One, that is the viscosity of the reference liquid and density of the reference liquid, which we usually take water as reference liquid. However, it is not hard and fast that we always take water as the reference liquid, but usually that is taken. So the values of this coefficient of viscosity for reference liquid and density of the reference liquid D2 and E2 will be standard value and they will be given from the table. Then the 3 things, one, that is time of flow for experimental liquid or liquid. First, time of flow through the same capillary for reference liquid T2, and one more thing is density of the experimental liquid. These 3 things we have to measure, and then we can calculate the value of coefficient of viscosity using this equation 6. So for the measurement of this viscosity or these values T1, T1 and T2, we use an apparatus, simple apparatus known as Ostwald's viscometer. So Ostwald viscometer is shown over here. This is and A and this is and E. Initially we clean the viscometer, then rinse it with acetone or ethyl alcohol and then dry it. After rinsing and drying the viscometer, a definite volume of the water or reference liquid is taken, and then that volume is inserted from this and E. Now I am saying that a definite volume of the experimental liquid or reference liquid which we have to take is that will depend on the size of the viscometer. The rough idea is that when we add water from this and E, the volume of water or the liquid should be such that it is almost up to this half of this bulb and up to this half of this bulb should be filled with the reference liquid. So whatever that amount, say that maybe 20 ml, 22 ml, 25 ml, 18 ml, 15 ml, whatever that volume, but that we should know, because say if we take 22 ml of water, that is reference liquid, then the same volume will be taken for experimental liquid. Only then that capital V will cancel out in the Pauli formula. So when we add water, a sufficient amount of water, then we clamp it in a stand, and then a rubber tubing is fixed at this end A, and we suck the reference liquid from end A, and then start the liquid to flow freely through this tube, and then these 2 marks will be there already in the Ostwald viscometer. When the level of water comes at M, then we start the stopwatch, and that level will keep on coming down and so on, and ultimately when this level of water is at point m dash, then we will stop the stopwatch. The time of flow between this m to m dash is noted down. We can repeat 3 or 4 times with the same reference liquid. That will give you the time of flow for the mean of the 3-4 values will give you the time of flow for reference liquid. Then we remove water from this end, rinse it with the experimental liquid, dry it, and then again now take the same volume. Remember, this volume will be the same as that for reference liquid. Say if it was 22 ml for water, we also take experimental liquid as 22 ml again. So again filling the same volume, and the process is now repeated for experimental liquid. That is, time of flow from m to m dash is noted 3 to 4 times, and then the mean of the 3-4 readings will give you the time of flow for experimental liquid. Now, though I have discussed the process, you can just go through. The apparatus is first washed with chromic acid and then thoroughly with water. Then it is clamped vertically in a stand. A definite and sufficient volume, as I have discussed clearly, of water is introduced into the bulb C through the end E. Through the rubber tube attached to end A, distilled water is sucked up into the bulb B so that the level of water is a little above the mark M. The water is then allowed to flow back, and time taken for water to flow from M to M dash is noted. मैंने पहले explain कर दिया है. The apparatus is then dried and experiment is repeated as about taking the same volume. मैं बार बार इस पे जोर दे रहा हूँ. Taking the same volume of the experimental liquid. The result is then calculated using the above formula. So, we have taken this formula. This T1 will be the time of flow for, say, experimental liquid. T2 is the time of flow for reference liquid, and eta 2 and D2, as I have said already, that they will be given standard value and they will be given from the table. They can be used. And for the calculation of density of the experimental liquid, we can take a specific gravity bottle, clean and dry it, then weigh it. That will be the weight of the empty specific gravity bottle set, that is W1. Then fill it with water and weigh it again. Say it is W2, that will be the weight of specific gravity bottle plus water. Then empty it and fill it with experimental liquid and weigh it again. Say it is W3, that will be the weight of experimental liquid plus specific gravity bottle. The difference of the two, W2 minus W1, will give you the weight of the water filled in the specific gravity bottle, and W3 minus W1 will give you the weight of experimental liquid in the same specific gravity bottle. So, from those values, we can calculate the density of the experimental liquid if we know the density of water or the reference liquid. Then, after the calculation, measurement of surface viscosity, now we have viscosity and chemical constitution. हमने जैसे डिस्कस किया था viscosity and surface tension, हमने वहाँ भी कहा था कि surface tension is not directly related with the chemical constitution of a substance, and a term paracore was introduced. Similarly, here the viscosity of a liquid largely depends upon the intermolecular force of attraction and the structure of the liquid molecules. Some general trends of viscosity are summed up as follows. Number 1, in a particular homologous series, organic compounds में हम homologous series की बात करते हैं, so that each successive member of the series differ by a CH2 group. So in case of a particular homologous series, the viscosity increases on addition of every CS2 group. The increase in viscosity per CS2 group is almost constant. जैसे मान लो हम सबसे एक सिंपल सा कंपाउंड ले लेते हैं जिसमें फर्ज करो 4 कार्बन है, उसकी एक पर्टिकुलर विस्कोसिटी है, वो हमने मेजर कर ली। उसमें फिर हम एक कार्बन और ऐड कर दें, मीन्स एक CS2 ग्रुप और आ जाए तो उसकी विस्कोसिटी बढ़ जाएगी। फिर एक और CS2 ग्रुप ऐड कर दें और विस्कोसिटी बढ़ जाएगी, एंड सो ऑन एज वी गो ऑन इंक्रीजिंग द नंबर ऑफ कार्बन एटम that will become more and more viscous, and it is observed that as a rough estimate, usually the increase in viscosity from one member to the other member in a particular homologous series is almost constant for every CS2 group. Another is for compound exhibiting chain isomers. The N isomers has higher viscosity than branched isomers. Another is for compounds showing geometrical isomers. Every compound will not show geometrical isomers, but those compounds which can show geometrical isomers are of two types, cis and trans isomers. So the trans isomers, though they will be having same molecular formula, but the trans isomers has higher viscosity than cis isomers, because the trans will be more viscous, or you can say more systematic. This result is very important to predict whether a liquid is associated or not. Dunstan proposed a rule called Dunstan rule. According to this rule, for a normal liquid, that is non-associated liquid, which do not associate, they do not form dimers or trimers or polymers of the same liquid. So for normal liquids, that is for non-associated liquid, D upon M into eta, this value will be very small, and therefore we multiply it by 10 raised to power 6. If this result is equal to 40 to 80, then the liquid will be non-associated, or it will remain in the normal state, where D is the density of the liquid, M is molecular mass, and eta is viscosity. So this smaller value shows that the viscosity of that liquid which are non-associated, they will be having lesser viscosity. On the other hand, if the liquid is associated, that means that is forming dimer, trimer or tetramer or polymer, then this D upon M into eta into 10 raised to power 6 will be much greater than 80. For those such liquids which have this value more than 80, they will be associated molecule. For example, water, glycol and glycerol, etc. Now next term is rheochore in this, which is related to the viscosity. As we have discussed a term paracore, which was related to surface tension, almost on the similar lines. Just as paracore is an additive and constitutive property related with surface tension, another such quantity has been found named as rheochore, R square bracket extended notation हम लेंगे, which is related to viscosity by the following expression. R, that is rheochore, is equal to M upon D into eta raised to power 1 upon 8. Now M is molecular mass, D is density of the liquid, eta is coefficient of viscosity of the liquid. Now if eta is equal to 1, then naturally this rheochore R will be equal to M upon D. Because M is molecular mass divided by density is volume, and because it is the molecular mass, therefore this V will be automatically molar volume, means volume of 1 mole of the liquid. Hence rheochore may be defined as the molar volume of the liquid at a temperature at which its coefficient of viscosity is unity. जैसे जैसे हम टेम्परेचर बढ़ाते जाते हैं, विस्कोसिटी डिक्रीज होती चली जाती है, और वो एक पर्टिकुलर टेम्परेचर जिस पे विस्कोसिटी 1 हो जाए, यूनिटी हो जाए, उस टाइम पे 1 मोल लिक्विड की जो भी वॉल्यूम होगी, वट एवर वॉल्यूम ऑफ 1 मोल, दैट विल बी द rheochore. Now next thing is viscosity in determination of molecular mass of polymers. For the determination of molecular mass of polymers, the most important application of measurement of viscosity is in the determination of molecular mass of polymers by finding the viscosities of their solution in appropriate solvent. The principle of such a determination is as follows. If the viscosity of a solution is eta at concentration C and the viscosity of pure solvent is eta 0, then the specific viscosity of the solution is given by the relation eta. Eta is the viscosity of the liquid or of a particular substance. If the viscosity of a solution is eta, that is the solution, and solution means that is having solute and that is having solvent. So eta is the viscosity of the solution and eta naught is the viscosity of the solvent in which that substance has been dissolved. Then the specific viscosity will be given by eta minus eta 0 upon eta 0 is equal to eta specific. Now if we plot a graph eta specific upon C, we can measure at different concentrations, and concentration itself along x-axis and eta specific divided by concentration along y-axis. Then we will get a straight line like this, and this intercept here, the plot of eta specific versus C is found to be linear as shown in figure this. The value of eta specific upon C obtained by extrapolating the plot to 0. ये यहाँ आया है, इस प्लॉट को जब हमने 0 पे एक्सटेंड किया तो यहाँ ये जो वैल्यू है eta specific upon C, 0 concentration gives intrinsic viscosity, जिसको हमने eta स्क्वायर ब्रैकेट से रिप्रेजेंट कर दिया है. And this intrinsic viscosity is found to related with the molecular mass of the polymer. It is found to be related to average molecular mass of the polymer m bar by the Mark-Hounik equation or Schrodinger equation as eta is equal to k into m average molecular mass raised to power a, where k and a are constant for given type of polymer and a particular solvent. So we can measure the molecular mass of the polymer if we know the intrinsic viscosity, and that intrinsic viscosity of particular liquid can be calculated with the help of this plot. Now there are some numerical problems on viscosity. इसमें हम सीधा फार्मूला जो हमें याद रहना चाहिए, या तो पॉजिटिव फार्मूला या जो फाइनली हमने रिलेटिव विस्कोसिटी मेजर की थी उसके लिए. तो इसमें कह रहा है द टाइम ऑफ फ्लो ऑफ वाटर एंड इथेनॉल से T1 and T2 are given at a particular temperature using Ostwald viscometer. The density of water is given as I have said, and that of ethanol is also given. If the viscosity of water at 20 degrees Celsius is this, calculate the viscosity of ethanol. तो आपके पास जो हमने फार्मूला दिया था eta 1 by eta 2 is equal to d1 t1 upon d2 t2, 6 पैरामीटर हैं. 6 में से आप देख रहे हैं T1 आपके पास दिया, टाइम ऑफ फ्लो फॉर वाटर दिया हुआ है, टाइम ऑफ फ्लो फॉर इथेनॉल दिया हुआ है 2, उसके अलावा विस्कोसिटी ऑफ वाटर दे रखी 3, डेंसिटी ऑफ वाटर दे रखा है और डेंसिटी ऑफ एक्सपेरिमेंटल लिक्विड. 5 पैरामीटर्स दे रखे हैं, वो आप पुट कर देंगे, 6th पैरामीटर अपने आप कैलकुलेट होकर आ जाएगा. लाइकवाइज अदर एग्जांपल्स, solved example as well as unsolved example, you have to go through these solved example as well as unsolved. The next and last topic in this liquid state is optical rotation. In case of optical rotation, that is a important property which is observed in case of some liquids which are optically active. Optically active means sensitive towards light radiations. So few terms. First term, plane polarized light. Now what is plane polarized light? When there is a source of white light radiations, then the radiations coming out from that source will have vibration in all the possible directions. However, if this is the source of white light radiations which is having vibration in all the possible directions, when these light radiations are allowed to pass through a Nicol prism, Then this Nicol prism is nothing but that is a combination of two prisms, one this and another is this. So when this light radiations from any source is passed through Nicol prism, then that gets polarized, and that's why this Nicol prism is called as polarizer. So that gets polarized means now that is having vibrations in only one plane as shown here. The next term is optically activity. Now if these plane polarized light are passed through the solution of a particular substance, then three things can be there. One, say these plane polarized light which are passing through the solutions remains as such as it was before passing through the solution. That will be happening only when the solution which is taken, the substance is optically inactive. That is the substance is not sensitive towards light radiations. It has no effect on light radiations. जैसे उसमें से जाएंगे वैसे के वैसे वो बाहर आ जाएंगे. The other, so such substances will be known as optically inactive. On the other hand, there are two more possibilities, that either these plane polarized light are rotated on the right hand side direction, or they can be rotated in the left hand side direction. In both the cases, when these plane polarized light radiations are rotated by a particular angle when passed through a solution of the substance, then that substance will be known as optically active. So ऑप्टिकली एक्टिव के लिए मैं कह रहा हूं कि इफ प्लेन पोलराइज्ड लाइट इज पास थ्रू क्वार्ट्ज और सॉल्यूशन ऑफ सम substance like glucose, sugar, etc., the path of plane polarized light gets rotated. The substances which rotate the plane polarized light are called optically active substance. और उसमें भी which rotates the plane polarized light in the right hand side direction, they will be called as dextrorotatory, represented by small d or plus sign, and which rotates the plane polarized light in the anticlockwise direction, they will be known as levorotatory, and they are represented by small l or minus sign. So the substances which rotate the plane polarized light are called optically active substance, and the property of a substance to rotate the plane of polarized light is called optical activity. I have told you that the substance which rotates the plane polarized light in the clockwise direction, they will be represented by writing symbol D before the formula or name of the compound or plus sign, and which rotate in the anti-clockwise direction, they will be represented by writing symbol L or minus before the formula or name of the compound. The next term is specific rotation. First thing, that the substance is optically active or optically inactive. That can be obtained by the property that if it rotates the plane polarized light, it is optically active. If it do not rotate the plane polarized light, it is optically inactive. Now, by which angle a particular substance rotates the plane polarized light is known as optical rotation or angle of rotation. So depending upon the nature of the substance, the optical rotation or angle of rotation is different for different substance. Now, specific rotation, the angle through which an optically active substance rotates the plane polarized light, depend upon 5 factors. सबसे पहला तो है नेचर ऑफ द ऑप्टिकली एक्टिव सब्सटेंस. जैसा मैं अभी कह रहा था, if the substance is optically active, only then it will rotate the plane polarized light. Otherwise, it will not rotate the plane polarized light, and matter will be finished at the first stage. So first and the important thing is the nature of the optically active substance, whether that is dextrorotatory or levorotatory. Another thing which affects the angle through which an optically active substance rotates the plane polarized light is concentration of the solution, and that is in gram per ml. Another factor is length of the tube containing optically active substance, and that is usually measured in decimeter. Though nowadays this unit is out of use, but in case of optical activity measurement, it is still in use. And another factor is wavelength of the light used, and last factor, that is temperature of the solution. Therefore, if m grams of substance is dissolved in V ml of the solution, L is the length of the tube in decimeter and alpha is the angle of rotation in degree, then it is found that this angle of rotation alpha will be directly proportional to m upon V into L. M upon V, this is concentration, because m gram is concentration in gram per ml, because m gram is dissolved in VML, and L is the length of the solution. So angle of rotation is directly proportional to concentration, means more is the concentration, more will be the angle of rotation, and directly proportional to the length of the solution. So here we have discussed that this angle of rotation depends upon 5 factors. These 5 factors. However, here this is the concentration in gram per ml and this is the length of the solution or length of the tube. Only 2 factors have been involved. So what is there? The next 3 factors are involved over here. We remove this proportionality constant symbol. Now alpha is equal to alpha lambda T into m into L upon V, where this alpha lambda T is a constant and is called specific rotation, which depends on the first thing nature of the substance, ये third factor आ गया, as well as on the wavelength, जो अपने चौथा factor कहा था, wavelength of the light used, and temperature of the solution in degrees Celsius. So this constant, which we are saying that is specific rotation, is involving 3 factors. One, wavelength of the light used, another temperature, and third one is nature of the substance, optically active substance. From equation first we get now this specific rotation alpha lambda T will be equal to alpha into V upon L into M. Now for definition of this specific rotation, if we take M is equal to 1 gram, 1 gram of the substance is dissolved in 1 ml and length of the solution is 1 decimeter, then all these 3 factors will be equal to 1 and alpha lambda T will be equal to alpha. Therefore, to define specific rotation of a substance may be defined as the angle of rotation, because this is now equal to angle of rotation alpha, produced when 1 gram of the substance is dissolved in 1 ml of the solution and the length of the solution through which light passes is 1 decimeter. So this is the definition of specific rotation. However, in all reported results, alpha lambda T, the concentration of solution is taken in gram per 100 ml. Instead of gram, हमने लिया है gram per ml, but in reported results, it is taken in gram per 100 ml of the solution. Thus, if C grams of the substance is dissolved in 100 ml of the solution, then we may put M, जो हमने कहा था कि m gram की जगह हम कह रहे हैं कि C gram is dissolved, और वॉल्यूम हम वहाँ कह रहे थे कि भाई 1 ml, अब हम कह रहे हैं 100 ml में, then we get alpha lambda T will be equal to 100 into alpha upon L into C. Equation third is applicable only for solutions. और अगर आप प्योर सब्सटेंस ले लेंगे, however for pure solids and liquids, m upon v, mass upon volume, that will be density. Therefore, that is replaced by density, and then we will have alpha lambda T will be equal to alpha upon L into D. This expression is for solution, and this expression is for pure solid or pure liquid for a pure substance. One more simple term, molar rotation. This specific rotation which we obtained, if it is multiplied by molecular mass of the substance and then divided by 100, then that will give you the molar rotation. The molar rotation is obtained by multiplying the specific rotation alpha lambda T with the molecular weight of the substance and dividing the result by 100. It is usually represented by m lambda T. The next is measurement of angle of rotation. For measurement of angle of rotation, the instrument used is known as polarimeter. And the polarimeter A layout diagram of polarimeter is shown over here. There will be a source of light radiation, and usually it is sodium lamp. Then there is a lens to focus it on this Nicol prism. This first prism, which is Nicol prism, is called as polarizer because initially the light radiations from this source will have vibration in all the possible direction, but after passing through this Nicol prism, now it will be having vibrations in only one plane. Then there will be a sample tube, glass tube is usually there, and a shutter will be there. That's why this portion is shown dotted. So that metallic shutter will be there, which can be opened or closed as and when it is required. Then the plane polarized light, which can pass through this sample tube, then that is allowed to pass through this another Nicol prism. This Nicol prism is known as analyzer because that will analyze that to which extent the plane polarized light has been rotated by the solution of the substance taken in the sample tube. And this Nicol prism, which is polarizer, is fixed, and this Nicol prism, which is known as analyzer, is movable, that is rotatable, and therefore a circular scale is connected to it, and this is our eyepiece or microscope or telescope will be there to have the observations. So after this description of the instrument polarimeter, the polarimeter is used to measure the optical rotation. Now the working of the polarimeter to measure the angle of rotation is done. That initially this source of light radiation will be there, that is allowed to glow, and then by passing through this Nicol prism polarizer, they gets polarized, and then initially this sample tube is filled with the solvent only, that is water only, and then is observed through this eyepiece. We adjust this circular scale slowly so that either a complete dark or a complete brightness field of view is observed here in the telescope or eyepiece. Once this situation is there, we note down the reading on the circular scale, and that will be the initial reading on this circular scale. Now we open this shutter, metallic shutter, and we will fill the sample tube with the solution of a particular concentration of particular substance whose angle of rotation is to be measured, and then close this shutter and again allow the light radiations to pass through the solution. Now what will you see? Now this field of view is neither completely dark nor that is completely bright. Means those light radiations have been rotated by the substance taken in the sample tube, and therefore we again adjust it slightly by rotating this circular scale, so that again either the field of view is completely dark or completely bright, and note down the final reading. The difference of the two readings will give you the angle of rotation for that particular substance. It can be negative. If it is negative, then the substance is levorotatory, and if it is positive, then the substance is dextrorotatory. Then last topic in this optical rotation is optical activity and chemical constitution. It is observed that optical activity depends upon the arrangement of atoms within the molecule. Thus, optical activity is a constitutive property. The organic compounds which are found to be optically active contain at least one carbon atom to which 4 different atoms or groups are attached. And such a carbon atom which is attached to 4 different atoms or group is called as asymmetric or chiral carbon, and is usually shown by putting a sign of star over it. A very simple example of such a compound is lactic acid, HCH3OH, Now this carbon is chiral carbon because all these atoms or groups which are attached are different. Now it is optically active, but whether it is dextrorotatory or levorotatory, just by viewing this structure we can't predict that a particular substance is dextrorotatory or levorotatory. ये ध्यान दें आप, पहली बात तो कायरल कार्बन चिरल कार्बन अगर इसमें है कंपाउंड में तो वो ऑप्टिकली एक्टिव की तो कंडीशंस हो सकता है ओबे कर लेगा, एंड इट्स मिरर इमेज शुड आल्सो बी नॉन सुपरइम्पोजेबल ऑन द ऑब्जेक्ट, देन दैट विल बी ऑप्टिकली एक्टिव. लेकिन वो डेक्स्ट्रोरोटेटरी होगा या वो लेवोरोटेटरी होगा, वी कांट प्रिडिक्ट जस्ट बाय द स्ट्रक्चर. So for predicting whether that is dextro or levo, we have to carry out the experiment using polarimeter. We have to measure the angle of rotation, and if it comes out to be positive, then the substance will be dextrorotatory, and if it comes out to be negative, then it will be levorotatory. However, once we know the angle of rotation for a particular substance, then if this substance is having, for example, the angle of rotation is positive, means that is dextrorotatory, then definitely its mirror image will be levorotatory and vice versa. तो आप एक सब्सटेंस के लिए एंगल ऑफ रोटेशन मेजर कर लें, उसकी मिरर इमेज के लिए आपको एंगल ऑफ रोटेशन मेजर करने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. इफ इट इज डेक्स्ट्रो देन इट्स मिरर इमेज विल बी लीवो, एंड इफ इट इज लीवो देन इट्स मिरर इमेज विल बी डेक्स्ट्रो. Also, if we mix equal molar quantity of a dextrorotatory and a levorotatory isomers, then the resulting mixture will have angle of rotation equal to 0, because the angle by which a dextrorotatory compound rotates the plane polar light in the clockwise direction, this angle will be cancelled by the levorotatory isomers, and net result will be the angle of rotation will be 0, and such substance will be called as racemic mixture, and that will be represented by DL or plus minus sign. The racemic mixture can be resolved back to dextrorotatory and levorotatory. Also, in case of compounds containing two asymmetric carbon atoms, for example, this tartaric acid is shown over here. This carbon is asymmetric and this carbon is asymmetric. A fourth form is also found. Three forms we have discussed. One is dextrorotatory, another is levorotatory, and another is racemic mixture. And fourth form is also found. In this form, the rotation caused by one half of the molecule is compensated by the other half within the molecule as shown. So in such molecules, say it is the mirror plane, this part is the mirror image of this, or this part is the mirror image of this. So in case of racemic mixture, that is known as external compensation, because we are adding from outside, but here it is the internal compensation. This angle of rotation which is caused by this portion of the molecule is or will be equal and opposite which is caused by this portion of the molecule. So again, in this case also, the net angle of rotation will be 0, and such compounds are known as meso compounds. And then in the last few simple numerical problems, solved example as well as unsolved example have been discussed on this optical activities. So this is all about your liquid state. I will just take 1 minute. We have discussed initially the properties of liquids. 4 properties we have discussed according to our syllabus. One is vapor pressure, another is surface tension, third one is viscosity, and then optical rotation. So this is all about third unit liquid state.